All right, let's take a look at how we can get live browser refresh set up for your Golang projects in just a few minutes. We're going to be using a tool called Kiruna for this, so let's go to our browser and go to the GitHub page for that. So we'll be at github.com/sjc5/Kiruna. This is just a standard GitHub repo. If you scroll down a little bit, we're going to get to a section in the README that goes over a starter tutorial from scratch. The first step is to run go mod init your module name. Instead of your module name, let's call it Kiruna tutorial, as you'd expect. Now, this is a set of commands that we can just copy, but all this is doing is creating a number of scaffold directories and placeholder files. So let's just go ahead and paste this in. When you do it, obviously read it. You never want to just execute arbitrary commands you copy from the internet, but once you're comfortable with what this does, go ahead and hit enter. And now if we open this up in our text editor, for me it's VS Code, so I'm just going to run code dot, we can see those files and folders have been created. So the next thing we're going to do is go to our dist/dist.go file. I'm going to do command P. Now we've got an error here just because there's no package declared. So I'm going to copy this here, paste it in, hit save. The next file that we want to set up is internal/platform/kiruna.go. So I'll flip over to that file, copy this, and hit paste. Now here we have the placeholder your module name, which isn't what we called it. We ended up calling it Kiruna tutorial. So let's go ahead and put that there instead, and then I'm going to save it. Now we're getting an error here. It's because we haven't installed Kiruna as a dependency yet. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to copy these commands, which simply gets Kiruna installed as a module and runs go mod tidy. And once that's done, we should see this error go away. Now let's move to the next step. We've got static/private/index.go.html. So let's go to that file. Once again, copy this over from the README and hit save. Next is a little bit of a longer one, but not too bad. We're going to open up command/app.main.go. Paste that in, hit save. Once again, we have this your module name here that's going to need to be changed. We called it Kiruna-tutorial, and there we go. The error goes away. Let's scroll down. Now we're going to want to edit command/build.main.go. And once again, let's change the module name to Kiruna tutorial and hit save. And finally, we want to edit the command/dev/main.go file, changing the module name as before. And there we go. Now we have our setup. So the next step here is simply to run command/dev. Let's go ahead and do that. Now we're getting some logging in our terminal here using the disk file system during development and starting server on localhost 8080. All right, so let's open this up in our browser and see what we've got. Okay, so we've got a page that says hello world, hello from static/private/index.go.html. Okay, so this is coming from static/private/index.go.html. What we have here is just a Go template, and we have Kiruna.getCriticalCSS style element, as well as Kiruna.getStyleSheet link element, and Kiruna.getRefresh script. Now in production, this will just be an empty string, and these will be links to your static assets and or your embedded inline CSS. So popping back over, what does it tell us to do next? It tells us to try editing the critical CSS, which is CSS that's going to be inlined into your document head. The file it tells us to edit is styles/critical/main.css. So let's go to styles, critical, main.css. Right now there's nothing here, but if we paste this in and pop back over, I want to show you how this is actually going to hot reload without even doing a browser refresh. Just so you can see how fast this works, I'm not going to hit Command S. Instead, I'll do file save. I think on the video you're going to be able to see when I hit save, so you can see how quickly the CSS changes. So I hit save, and then it went ahead and it instantly changed. If I delete it again and hit save, it's instantly changing back without doing a full browser refresh. So that's cool. let's take a peek at this and see where this is actually being inlined. So if we go into our inspector and into the head, we can see that this is inline CSS in this style tag. So this would be applied without needing to download any style sheet. But let's flip over to normal CSS, which is what would be in a traditional style sheet, and add this style, override the H1 to make it red. So we'll hit save there, and you can see that it turned red. Now in this case, this is not inlined. This is from just a classic style sheet that's being referenced here. So this is instructing us to try adding a literal inline style in the H1 tag. So let's go ahead and do that, adding style color green. So I hit save, and I'm getting error executing template. The reason is because I have two close quotes there. So let me hit delete, and we'll refresh this. Okay, so it's green, of course, but you didn't get to see the browser refresh. So let me just go ahead and delete this inline style, and let's save, and you'll see that refreshing. Now that actually did do a full browser refresh, and that's because it needs to re-execute the Go code that's being inlined here. One feature of Kiruna is that for style sheets, whether it's inlined via critical styles or referenced in a normal style sheet, these are going to do true hot reloading where the browser itself doesn't even refresh. Any state inside of the browser is going to be maintained. For other things, it is going to do a browser refresh. And we aren't going to actually change anything in our server, but just to show you the refresh of the Go server as well, let's just make no changes to our dist.go file and save it. And you should also be able to see that this is going to show a rebuilding status here while the Go binary is being rebuilt, and then the browser is going to refresh. So I will save this file, and you can see rebuilding, and then it refreshed. So there you go. That's all there is to it. It's very snappy. It works great. If you edit the HTML, say let's get rid of the paragraph tag, it disappears very, very quickly. So go give this a shot. Let me know any comments, and let's get this thing stable into a 1.0. Thanks.